It's actually favor Mississippi by about 10 points in this game. So that would be where the line value is. Once again, though, it's a little risky trusting Ole Miss laying 10 with that defense. However, the defense has looked better this year. I'm not going to read too much into Alabama putting up 42. Alabama averages, 46.5 going into the game. So they theoretically held them below their average, a little bit better than last year. Ole Miss did not move the ball as well as expected. They got the late touchdown, but otherwise really nothing in that game offensively. For a team that came in averaging, over almost 50 points a game, 78 rushing yards, 213 passing yards, not that impressive. So the question is, can they pick it up here against a very good Arkansas defense? Obviously Georgia was a huge step up in class for Arkansas last week. They did get shut out 37-0. But once again, they held Georgia to just 72 passing yards on 11 attempts. Georgia just ran the ball, had a big lead, 56 attempts, but 273 rushing yards. So, overall they held Georgia to about 350 yards. Not too bad. And on the season, their numbers are really solid defensively. So even though my power ratings say the values with Ole Miss here, you are getting a better defensive team as an underdog, which is something I don't like to go against. So it's a tough call here. You got to keep in mind also Arkansas's other signature win against Texas came when the Longhorns traveled for the first time in week 2, a young team. Did look good against Texas A&M. Obviously, we'll see how good that win really looks with A&M playing Alabama this week.
One of the things that I've been really interested in, especially with this college football season, is seeing how these teams are reacting to on the road, because you could tell some of these players are not used to these big stadiums, these raucous crowds. And do you have any factors in your power rankings with this particular change in this year because of what happened last year and hardly any fans were able to be at the stadium compared to this year? Does home field mean a little bit more in your power rankings than it has in previous years?
Yeah, it's an excellent question because we've talked a lot about with the NFL. There's been hardly any home field advantage in the NFL this year. And it's not just because of COVID and no fans last year. We've seen it diminishing for about the last 5 to 6 years. Every year the NFL's gone from what was always, the textbook 3-point home field advantage to 2.5, 2, even about 1.5, 1 before COVID. College football is a little bit different because a couple reasons. First of all, you are dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, that aren't used to it. They're not professionals. Also the travel factor. The NFL, they're taking chartered flights everywhere. It's not a hassle anymore. College football, maybe not chartered commercial flights. Maybe they're taking a bus, and also the locker rooms aren't as comfortable. So I do still think you get a college football home field advantage. I'm not seeing it too different overall, though. It's still around 3 points, which is what I've used for many years. But the NFL is where you really have to be careful because as what we've seen so far, NFL home field advantage has not been worth much this year. I do think college football, there is still maybe a 2.5, 3-point edge.
Steve Merril with ProSportsInfo.com on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. One couple more college games before we get into some of the pro lines. But, of course, me being a Vol fan, that's why I'm named Smokey, I've got to bring up Tennessee and South Carolina. Tennessee rocking an offense last week in their big victory over Mizzou. Granted, Missouri's defense is complete and utter garbage. But they're coming in and doing this dark mode going up against the Gamecocks of South Carolina, while they covered against Troy last week, they seem to struggle a little bit. Numbers started out at 12, going down to about 10 right now. What is your thoughts and what do your power rankings feel with the Vols and the Gamecocks this weekend?
Yeah, my numbers disagree with the lower line here. It's around about 10.5, as you said. I got it at 13. Now, there's not a huge difference, obviously, between 10.5 and 13. Yes, it's 2.5 points, but 11 and 12 are 11 a little bit key number, but 12 is a dead number. Games aren't going to land on 12. So, 10.5 to 13, there's really a little bit of line value maybe with Tennessee. There'd be more at 10 or less. 10 is a very key number. So if we get this down to 10 or less, I think you can start making a case there is value with Tennessee. And, South Carolina is a team that can throw the ball decent. They've been very strong, actually, against the pass. So we'll see if Tennessee can throw in this game. But Tennessee's been running the ball much better than South Carolina this year. They're averaging almost 5.5 yards a carry, almost twice as many yards on the ground per game. So I do think they have a nice rushing advantage in this game, and I think both defenses are above average. Total on this one has actually risen quite a bit. So even though we have two good defenses statistically, the total on this game has risen up from the low 50s, about 52 up to 57 now. So we've actually seen a good amount of money on the over and not too much movement on the line. Once again, 10 or less, I think you start getting some value with Tennessee.
And I would be remiss in being in this area if I did not talk the Alabama Crimson Tide, since we are the we have the Crimson Tide Sports Network on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The numbers started out with Alabama and Texas A&M, Bama being favored by 14.5. It's gone up to somewhere around 17.5, which is two major numbers in the betting aspect. And Steve, your power rankings, this one right here, I mean, Alabama has seemed to be one that burns you a little bit this year compared, like, not you individually, but you in like popularity. But the thing is that Miami, they covered, Ole Miss, they covered, but then Florida, they win by 2. So with A&M coming up, and A&M's a wounded team, what are your power rankings feeling with the Crimson Tide and the Aggies coming up this weekend?
Yeah, most of the season I thought there would be no value with Alabama because they were just fantastic last year. Not only did they go perfect straight up, but keep in mind they covered over 70% of their regular season games before they finally caught the lines up to them in the playoffs there, became a little more competitive. But, I never thought there'd be a situation where we were getting value with Alabama this year, but that actually has been the case in several games, including last week. And I mentioned it here with Tom. My power ratings in that Ole Miss game favored them by 20.5, and they were only a 14.5 point favorite. So, that was an example where we had a public dog last week with Ole Miss. Same thing with Georgia. My power ratings favored Georgia by 25 in that game. I think they were laying over only 18 against Arkansas. So, surprisingly, we have found value. It's not the case this week. My power rankings make the line 16. As you said, it's currently 17.5. 17 is somewhat of a key number, but what's interesting, Smokey, is that the look-ahead line, some sports books put out advanced lines the week before the games where you can actually bet them. The bettable look-ahead line before Alabama played last week was going to be 14.5 in this game. But they looked so good, they opened at 17, and now it's 17.5, 18. My ratings say 16. So it's right in between what the look-ahead was and what the current line is, which makes it a tough call. The other thing that makes it a tough call, obviously, is A&M has vastly underperformed this year. This is a team that was fifth in the country last year, just missed the playoffs. Do they step it up, or are they just not as good this year? Back-to-back outright losses as a favorite the last 2 weeks.
Ooh. And say that number again that your power rankings had for Bama and Ole Miss one more time.
Yeah, now the look-ahead line the week before the game was played was 14.5. That's a bettable line. And now it's 17, 18. My line makes it 16. So basically,
I wasn't talking about A&M. I was talking about what your line had for Bama and Ole Miss.
Oh, last week it was 20.5,
and the
real line was 14.5.
And the number was 21, wasn't it? The final number was 21. So that
is correct.
That is the info that you get with Steve Merril.
If you're listening, listen to Steve right now. If you're listening for tomorrow, listen to Steve right now.
But all right, so we'll go into the pro game a little bit right now, and I mean, I'm just looking at some of these games, and I'm confused at some of these lines right here. I mean, you got the Las Vegas Raiders right now coming off a bad loss to the Chargers and doing another short week going up against the Chicago Bears, who now have Justin Fields set as the starting quarterback right now. Vegas has been rolling with the offense. Derek Carr has been doing a great job right now, but numbers sitting in that 5.5, opened up at 7. And honestly, with the way the Bears defense goes and with Khalil Mack, I mean, granted, I'm a Bears homer, I'm a Bears fan, but I just see this number being a little too high. And what does your power ranking say about the Bears and the Raiders?
Yeah, I think the line is probably a little bit too high as well. And one thing I like to look at a lot in the NFL is, what side the public's on, because you do start to lose line value. And the Raiders look like one of the more public sides once again this week. And a textbook example of that was a couple weeks ago, guys. The Raiders were one of the most public sides against the Dolphins. They were a 3.5 point favorite, and they won by exactly 3 in overtime. So it made a huge difference. So I do think you're paying a little bit of a premium here with the Raiders in this game. And, of course, one of the reasons the Raiders are public this week is because the public wants nothing to do with Chicago. A lot of times it's more play against teams for the public. Yet this line opened 7 and is now down to 5.5. So I think we have a little bit of a sharp square divide. I think there's some sharp money on the Bears here as a dog, and there's a little bit of a public square money on the favorite. It's hard to make a case for Chicago. They're averaging 4.5 yards per pass. I mean, that's about as bad as you're ever going to see in the NFL. So any kind of change at quarterback or consistency there might not be a bad thing. We'll see if Fields gets better as the season goes as a true rookie.
Another NFL game will be the one that's coming up tonight. A little spicy matchup, but if you have NFC West matchups, they're always spicy right now with the way the 4 teams are playing. But we got Rams and Seahawks coming in, and Rams being a 2.5 point favorite right now. Granted, they had a bad loss last week. I mean, it was pretty bad right there. But Seattle coming in, they seem to be a little bit injured as well. Chris Carson probably won't play tonight. What are you feeling with Seattle and the Rams being on a short week?
Yeah, it's always an advantage, I think, for the home team on these Thursday night games. Tom and I talk a lot about it each week on the Thursday segment here. Not only do both teams only have 3 days of prep and rest, but the road team, of course, loses a day because they have to travel on top of that. And over the past few years that we've had all these Thursday night games, we sort of got a decent sample size here over the last 5+ years. The Thursday teams have done well. The one exemption to that is when they're not the superior team. Now, granted, the Rams are technically a road favorite here. The line has gone from 1 to 2.5, but not much of a favorite. Seattle's still, considered a playoff caliber team. So I think if this line gets up to 3 by kickoff, we could say there's some value with the Seahawks. I'm not sure that's going to happen. It's currently sitting 2.5. What Seattle does make probably is a pretty good teaser play. A teaser, of course, is when you can move the line 6 points. You get to add an extra 6 points. You might say, well, that's too good to be true. Well, there is a catch. You got to win a second game with it. You got to do 2 teams. So you'll have to find one on Sunday to tease with it as well. But the key with teasers is covering the key margins, especially 3 and 7. So obviously taking Seattle from +2 up to +8, you have 3 and 7 working for you now in a game that probably should be pretty tight, 2 fairly balanced teams.
Steve Merril with ProSportsInfo.com on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. One last thing before we let you out, Steve. MLB playoffs are going on, starting today, and it looks like there's a little bit of value going on with this division series going on. Right now, game lines, you got Boston at +125 with let's see. It's going to be Eduardo Rodriguez going up against Shane McClanahan going up, and Boston and Tampa Bay. You got White Sox and Astros going on. Lance Lynn and Lance McCullers Jr. In the MLB playoffs, where are your power rankings on, and where could be the most possible value that any one of our listeners could get, in your opinion, with the MLB playoffs?
Well, you got to keep in mind the playoffs are so different than the regular season because obviously pitching is important in the regular season. They base the lines heavily still on starting pitchers, but it's 162 games. I always feel like offensive momentum, good and bad, gets a little underrated when handicapping on a daily basis. Come playoff time, though, it's definitely about the pitching. It's once again defense wins championship. Pitching is defense. So I've said from the start, I'd said this back in June. I gave this out on several shows at 13-1 was the Brewers. And you can still get them at like 8 or 9-1. And the fact that the Dodgers advanced, you're going to get the better odds on the Brewers still because they're going to have to play either the Giants or the Dodgers, obviously one of the 2 best teams in baseball, either way, if they get by the Braves. But what I like about the Brewers, especially in a 5-game or a 7-game series, is they've got Burns and Woodruff, 2 of the best pitchers in the league, going at least 4 out of 7 games in any series. Even though the Dodgers are stacked, I think the Giants, the Giants have overachieved all season. I do think they come back down to earth. But I really like the Brewers and Dodgers in the NL final. I think the American League is wide open. It's hard to go against the Rays or Astros with their pedigree. They just have that experience factor. But I really think the American League is wide open. I did see an advance line before the Dodgers advanced, and the National League was about $1 -130 favorite to win the World Series. I'm assuming that'll be a little higher now since the Dodgers are in the round of 5, the 5-game series now. But I think it's going to be Dodgers or Brewers when all is said and done. If you're looking for a little bit of a long shot, Milwaukee checks a lot of those boxes with that pitching staff.
Steve, let the people know how they can get the one of your best bets for the weekend.
Yeah, for free. Email me, mention the show, steve@prosportsinfo.com, and I will send a best bet for free. Mention you heard the show. Email me, steve@prosportsinfo.com.
Thanks, Steve. Much appreciate the time, sir.
Thanks, Monkey. Great talking to you guys.
Same here. Steve Merril with ProSportsInfo.com. When we come back, a little more action with the Lions on the Thom Abraham Show. We'll preview a little bit of the division series going on. You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
NFL Thursday night, the Rams on the road facing the Seahawks. The Rams at 3-1, a 2.5-point road favorite. Seattle 2-2. The over/under 54.5. UFC Fight Night, a big one in the women's strawweight division, Mackenzie Dern will battle Marina Rodriguez Saturday, moving the winner one step closer to a title shot. Dern minus 170 on the money line, Rodriguez at plus 140. The ALDS underway this afternoon in Houston. The White Sox at the Astros in Game 1. Houston minus 139 on the money line. Chicago at plus 129, the over-under 8. Later, the Red Sox at the Rays. Tampa Bay minus 168 at home. Boston plus 157, the over-under 7.5.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is your big game headquarters all fall long. And with our new fall features, every day is game day at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Try our pregame starters, including our homemade onion strings, always fresh hot lips, and our all-new Buffalo Dippin' Chicken appetizer. Our main events include incredible chicken, fish, and shrimp selections, always featuring local Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget our Sunday Blitz, 11 to 6. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible, but again, we're going to get to enjoy a fair amount of sunshine. Temperatures hanging out in the mid and upper 70s. Some of the traditionally warm spots could actually see 80 degrees this afternoon, dropping into the low and mid 60s as we head into the overnight. A mostly to partly sunny sky for your Friday afternoon. A couple of isolated showers are going to be possible. That activity looks like it's going to be out of here by the time we get to Friday night football. Temperatures dropping into the lower 60s as we head into the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
And welcome back into the Thom Abraham Show. Tom has gone fishing. Smokey and Chad taking over right now. 256-576-4977 is the phone number to call in if you want to come chat with us. Basically talk about anything on here. Like, we're open for any type, like boxing, college football, pro football, MLB. I mean, Braves right now. Braves and Brewers. This one right here, Brewers with Woodruff and with Corbin Burns. And I mean, you're going to see Burns.
I watched them all year.
Yeah. You're going to see Burns probably twice if it goes 5 games at least. And I mean, Chad, you're the Braves fan. Give me your take on what do you think about the Braves and the Brewers coming up here.
I think it's going to be a great series. I mean, I went to the series, or I went on the Sunday game for the series against the Brewers in Atlanta. And, in the series, they split 3-3. I think both times, both teams were good at home. They won 2 games at home, lost 1. So, I think the thing about the Braves is they were playing really well away, and they're hot right now. The Brewers are kind of like that team that's been just, like, really good the whole time because the Central, at one time, man, like, the Central was scary because I thought, like, the Reds were going to make a push. I thought the Cardinals were going to make a push, which they did, but then, hit the Dodgers. But, I mean, when you look at it, like, that's what the Central does, but it was more competitive than how the East was. And if you look at the Braves, as soon as Acuna went down, and as much of a great talent as he is, and I wouldn't trade him for anybody, you know what I mean? But the team played better, and the team was more connected. And it just seemed like also a re-signing of Adam Duvall was huge for the Braves, which that was huge. And then when you sit here and you get all these guys right before the trade deadline, you get Rodriguez from Pittsburgh, you get Soler from the Royals. Soler, if you go look at Soler, the 96 games that he played for the Royals, his batting average was down. I think it was in like the 250s or something like that, 240s or something like that. It was kind of down. And then if you go look at, or 270 maybe, but then if you go look at what he's doing for the Braves in the last 56 games, I mean, he's raking. He's batting over 300. He's hitting he's hitting about the same amount of home runs I think he hit in 96 games for the Royals. It's just a tale of 2 tapes for him. It's just it's literally he's just kind of flipping over and just kind of like, it's like he's playing better and refreshed as a Brave. And when I look at the Braves, for me, the Braves I feel like they have the better hitting. I feel like they have the better hitting team now. The pitching is very close. As good as the Brewers are with their top 2, outside of that, I picked the Braves. I think the youth of the Braves, and because a lot of these pitchers that are for the Braves have been there before. Mm-hmm. So they've been in the postseason before. They've been around it before, so they're kind of used to it. And when I look at Charlie Morton, a guy that the Braves had originally, and what do the Braves do? They get rid of young talent. Remember the guy that pitched last night for the Cardinals? Yeah. A guy named Adam Wainwright? Yep. The Braves had him at one time and got rid of this guy. So when we look at the Braves and how well they like signed all these new guys to the team, outside of that, the whole team is just playing great, and it's the guys that are from the system. Austin Riley could be the MVP. Dansby Swanson's having one of his best years. You know what I mean? People wanted to trade these guys. How crazy are you?
Austin Riley, granted, he's got some good numbers. I don't feel like
his team is winning.
Yeah, his team is winning. And the thing
is, in the playoffs.
And thing is that you look at the Vegas odds, you see like Juan Soto and Bryce Harper
sitting on the sideline.
But you know who actually has been not talked about enough?
Tatis sitting on the sideline.
Yeah, the one that hasn't been talked about enough that I feel like should be really in the MVP conversation is Brandon Crawford of the San Francisco Giants.
I get that.
I mean, dude's been raking.
I can see that.
And I mean, like, what? Nobody is talking about like this Giants team right here. It's just like
they're just so good. But who's beaten the Giants this year? The Braves. The Braves were able to beat the Giants in the series that they played them. And I think that when I look at a lot of these teams that win 100 games, and you can dog a team for winning 80 games in their division. Yeah, the NL East is bad. It's usually one of the worst, the worst.
Oh, my God, it's bad.
I mean, it's literally one of the worst divisions in baseball a lot of times when it comes to – well, I will say this. It was competitive last year because of the 60-game season. But usually you got teams like the Marlins. The Nationals out of nowhere just stink, man. And – they shipped a lot of guys away, which last night, Juan Soto, we're talking about him, was sitting at the game wearing a Trey Turner jersey, and then his pitching coach was sitting right next to him wearing a Max Scherzer Nats jersey. So it's like, that's cool that the Dodgers get to have all these like really good talent, and you wonder why the Nationals suck. And you say Juan Soto, I get that. He's the only one on his team, dude. Maybe he could win the MVP because of that. But, I mean, if you can't make the playoffs and you can't, like, really get your team over the hump, I don't think you should be able to be in the running for the MVP. I'm sorry. I don't think you should, because we don't give Aaron Rodgers the MVP because his team stinks, do we? We always give it to him because he's got to make the NFC Championship game or he's got to make the playoffs.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Here's also the other thing, too, that you're looking at it. If you look at the NL side of it, there's a reason why Shohei Ohtani is going to be MVP.
Oh, yeah.
And granted, the Angels suck, and they've sucked for years. But Ohtani and the way he has been doing his thing
when
this
you're
year,
a freak talent that can do both ways, yeah, I can see that, yeah.
And the only other person who really could get in this MVP conversation in the American League side is Vlad Jr., who, you know,
just that
was the one thing that, like, this playoffs, if Toronto would have made this playoffs, I would have been so much more into it because that was one of my favorite teams to watch.
And the crazy thing about Toronto, they're like 91 and whatever. You know what I mean? And so like they're better than the Braves.
Yeah.
You know, if you go look at the AL East and the NL East, the top 4 teams in the AL East could all win the NL East. I mean, anybody could have won the NL East.
You know, the way the playoffs were last year, I would have loved to seen how it would have
played out this. Yeah,
I mean, if we would have had last year's format for the playoffs,
I don't know
this year.
I don't know though, man, because the Dodgers, they would have had Albert Pujols at DH. They could have Trey Turner and anybody else that they want to bat. You know what I mean?
But still,
and it's a lot easier for them to put their aces out there too in an AL game because they don't have to bat either, or in a DH game because they don't have to bat either.
I mean, it's just one of those things that, like, 10 teams.
And I only trust Max Scherzer to bat, to be honest with you.
10
and Fried.
Well, you only get a third of the teams making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And granted, the reason why college football's regular season is so important is because of the percentage of teams that actually get to be able to play in the playoff.
Yeah.
And so like 4 out of 128 is utmost ridiculous. And right now, all we're looking at is if we had the old BCS system, this would work out perfectly.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, right now it's Bama and Georgia, and there's nobody else. Like, Iowa, Penn State, they have good defenses right now. We'll see what both teams have coming up this Saturday.
Here's the thing that I always talk about, because when we're talking about, you know, the Braves winning their division with 88 wins, people dog it, but it's been talks before that that baseball should take the soccer initiative of relegating teams.
Why did you bring up soccer?
I'm just compare. Let me compare. Just hear me out. Let me compare. So the Braves 88 wins, right?
Right.
So let's say they're that 16th team, right? Like, let's say there's 15 teams with a better record or something like that. You know what I mean? Let's just say that there's 15 teams that are with a better record. All right? Yep. You take those 15 teams and they play for the Mac Daddy of them all, the World Series, everything like that. And you make it more competitive within the markets to be a better team. Because if you go look over in soccer, all these teams will fail. You know what I mean? They lose money.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have to do it a smart way to continue to promote their team. I mean, some teams didn't even get paid. Could you imagine an MLB player not getting paid for a season? That would be ridiculous. That'd be insane. So I think it would be a lot more competitive where the top 15 teams, they play for the World Series, and then the rest, they play for the not World Series. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Not
in a way.
World Series?
But
what
a
is
smaller trophy? A smaller trophy.
Are you wanting the FA Cup or some crap like that?
But what I mean is it just makes it more competitive in a way, and it also makes it where you can't sit here and complain that the Braves won the division. They earned winning that division, whether it was 88 wins or not, and I love it as a Braves fan, okay? But if I'm a Toronto fan, if I'm a Yankees fan, if I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm like, dang, I couldn't even win my own damn division with 90-something wins. You know what I mean? The Braves won it with, they predicted last year the Braves were only going to win 93. And it was like a three-way tie between them, the Mets, and the Nationals. Or the Phillies, I'm sorry, not the Nationals. But, I mean, you just never know. And I just think when we look at these, maybe it makes it a little different. Maybe it changes up the playoffs a little bit.
It does. Well, 256-576-4977 is the phone number. Get in. You can tweet at us. I'm at Rose Scholar. He's at Gwathney Chad. The station's at 97.7 ESPN. We're going to take one final timeout, but a little tease before we get into it. There was a trade that happened yesterday in the NFL, and then Jalen Smith has found himself a new home. Even the shocking, I'm still confused by this. But on the other side of the break, we will let you know those two happenings. You are listening to the Thom Abraham Show right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton.
You were a young coach once, and you were hired by a future senator I had to talk to a lot.
How about that?
Comes on our show a lot. Did you ever think he'd be a senator?
You know what? I was one of the few people that always did. Tom, me and Tommy Tuberville were graduate assistant coaches. We went to Kentucky Fried Chicken. We got the 4-piece dinner, and we fought for the breast. And I'm going on radio right now saying most time I got it. But you know what? I'm very proud of Tommy.
Listen to The Drive, weekdays starting at 5 p.m. on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Bob Baumhauer and 97.7 ESPN The Zone have teamed up to bring you a huge opportunity this fall. Each week, come on down to Baumhauer's during the drive on Thursdays between 5 and 7 and register to win a Lunch Bunch gift certificate for 6 to Baumhauer's. But wait, there's more. Each weekly winner will then be placed into a drawing for Bob's tickets to the LSU-Alabama game in Tuscaloosa, complete with an invitation to Bob's exclusive pregame party at Baumhauer's tent on the Quad. Stay tuned to 97.7 ESPN The Zone for other opportunities to sign up and win Bob's tickets. Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Sitting here with Ann Adams of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate. Is it a good time to sell your home, Ann?
Yes, it is. We have people relocating from all over the country.
Why should we choose Rise Real Estate?
Well, we've been selling real estate in North Alabama for 36 years and have sold more real estate than any other real estate company, period.
Do you help your customers through the entire process?
Yes, our agents are with you during the whole process from start to finish, from beginning to end.
In your relocation services, you have a whole team.
Yes, we have a dedicated relocation department helping customers move seamlessly into the area.
Ann Adams has been writing contracts for the last 36 years. She has the experience to help you list and sell your home. downsize your home, or help pick the perfect spot north of Alabama for you to build a future.
Call Ann Adams at 256-337-2625 or on the web at www.bhhsriserealestate.com.
And now a small business setback, set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
256-576-4977.
Hold it, hold it!
That's 256-576-4977.
People stay just a little bit longer. We want to play just a little bit longer.
And welcome back to the Thom Abraham Show. What is this? What is this?
Stay.
Is this the closeout music now?
That's what he wanted.
That's what he wanted?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, I could always play him some Travis Tritt every now and then.
Oh,
you know,
God,
at the end
please
if you
no.
want. You want
Please,
some Travis
please, God,
Tritt?
no.
Do I have to bring up Travis Tritt?
256-576-4977. Smokey and Chad filling in for Tom for the next 2 days. And we got to do a little bit of a teaser for tomorrow because we are going to have a Friday trifecta, and it's going to be a big one because nobody's gotten champions for what? The last 3 weeks, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's won it.
Nope. So we are up to $100 in Champy's Chicken. Now, there's a catch. If one person wins, they get the whole $100. But say if we get 2, 3, 4 that tie, it's going to be split evenly. The $100 worth of Champies split evenly between the winners because $100 is like we're way up there.
Yeah,
this is getting ridiculous, guys. So
it's all these ties too.
Yeah,
like he has these like weird ties.
We've got 4 games on the docket, as well as Braves and Brewers and your series. You'll be able to text your picks in if you're not able to call in tomorrow. So Tom will be able to have that for you in the text window, and then we will take your picks on air and get with Tom, and then we will get, hopefully, somebody will go with some Champy's Chicken. Pray to God.
I beat him last week. Maybe I should get it. I mean, shoot.
All right.
Got my overall record up and everything.
So a little bit tease as we would talk before the break. A little bit of NFL happenings that happened in the last 24 hours that hadn't really been talked about, nor not most people were talking about. Stephon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year. Granted, he's been injured right now, and it's not looking like it's looking about week 7 when he's going to be able to come back. He gets traded.
Yeah.
From New England.
What is wrong with you?
Where his old college stomping grounds are. Granted, it's South Carolina that he went to, but he's going to the Carolina Panthers. Got traded for a 6th-round pick.
And some Twizzlers. Like, I mean, is this guy not valuable anymore or something? It's like Julio Jones last year, and I get it. Like, my goodness. I mean, what is the value? It's like basketball. Basketball, it's like, you know what? We're going to give LeBron James $56 million each year, and he gets all the concession stand money as well because we can't afford it. And, you know, like some sports just don't make sense at all, and football is one of the ones, and I get it. It's like older people may not be as effective as they once were or whatever, but you bank on the Julio Jones legacy. I would have wished that the Falcons had just fished more from from what they got for Julio Jones. It's just ridiculous.
You
man.
as a Falcon fan,
6th-round pick for a defensive back who is probably one of the best cornerbacks in the league right now.
Well, former defensive player of the year. I believe it was 2019 that he
Yeah.
won that.
So what is up? I mean,
you as a Falcons fan, I mean, he's going to Carolina. The Panthers look much improved compared to the year
they
before.
got rid of J.C. Horn and they get Stephon Gilmore
they
as a
didn't get rid of
replacement.
J.C.
Or he
Horn.
got hurt, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? But they don't have him. And then
We'll look at about 3
My
weeks, and
goodness.
they'll have J.C. Horn and Stephon Gilmore in the secondary. And
my goodness.
you as a Falcons fan, are you ready to just bag it? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
I was ready to bag it last week when I watched that Washington football team victory. And guess who scored the game-winning touchdown? J.D. McKissick, who was a little running back, I understand, and he was a returner, but the Falcons Atlanta franchise got rid of another young talent from Phoenix City, Alabama, which I keep hearing this on ESPN. Have you heard it? Where it's Freddie and Fitz, and I know Fitzsimmons is from Alabama, but he keeps calling Phillip Rivers the pride of Phoenix City. I thought he was from Athens. Why does he keep calling him the pride of Phoenix City?
Well, is that where his coaching gig is at?
It's down in Mobile.
Oh, down in Mobile. Well,
but the thing is, it's like, but it didn't make sense anyway. So every time I hear it, I'm just like, maybe somebody can call in and tell me. I'm just confused by it because I'm like, he's from Athens.
Yeah.
So I'm just like confused by the ESPN thing, that promo every time.
Played at Athens High, and then
but
actually it was kind of funny when I was a freshman at Grissom. Grissom played Athens at Athens, and Rivers was the starting quarterback as a senior that year. So,
and it wasn't because of his daddy; he was good. I mean, I was in Chicago, dude, one time, and I saw the love for him. NC State fans with Phillip Rivers jerseys watching NC State games in Chicago at right outside Wrigley Field. I mean, the love for Phillip Rivers grows beyond Alabama, and it's crazy.
Right. Another one that just happened this morning that Adam Schefter put out is Jalen Smith.
Yeah.
A confusing release from the Dallas Cowboys, as, I mean, I still don't understand why the Cowboys decided to release him, but a lot of people are bringing up the possible injury factor and that the Cowboys didn't want to be on the hook for that
Back
much
when he was
money.
in like Notre Dame, though? Like that
Well,
was like 4 years ago.
no. They're talking about the contract for this year.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys didn't want to be put on the hook for the money just in case he possibly gets injured. Jalen Smith has found himself a new home with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and what's funny about the Green Bay Packers, both Smith brothers, or not, they're not brothers, but they're basically brothers because they have the same last name. You know what I mean? They're both defensive ends, Zakaris and Preston. The dudes are studs. All right. I mean, they are better now because one was on the Ravens and now he plays for the Packers and now he's a better defensive end. It just seems like if you go to the Packers on defense, you get a little bit better. When Julius Peppers went to the Packers, I went to that game, went to the playoffs. You know what I mean? Got to the playoffs with the Packers.
I can't.
And played one of his best games. I can't either. I got a buddy that's a Packers fan, and they're all the same. Trust me. I mean, but I think that it's a good fit for him. But I also wonder, is he physical enough? I watched him, like some clips of him, and man, he's getting pushed around. When he comes up to tackle somebody, he looks absolutely afraid. And I get it, it's the NFL. I would be afraid too because I'm 5'9", and I would get absolutely like smoked by somebody,
right?
Just on a crack block by a wide receiver. But when I'm watching a guy that is huge, and he basically spent a crap load of money to change his number from 54 to 9, and now he's not even on the team anymore. And it's like, well, I wonder really what's wrong with this guy, either mentally or maybe he just can't. He doesn't have the jump anymore. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's one of those.
He's only been in the league 5 years now.
There's been some of these people have been real confusing. I mean, there's been a lot of weird situations right here.
It's kind of like with the QB situation with all these rookie QBs. Like everyone dogged Mac Jones. Like they're like, oh yeah, he should definitely fall to the Patriots. And then, like, he was one of the best. And then now it's like you see kind of like Wilson get a little bit better. Now Trey Lance gets a chance next week. And then Justin Fields gets a little bit of a better chance. But he did play the Lions last week. Sorry, Wolverine Dan. He did play the Wolverine Lions last week. And, it's just weird and weird to pick guys out that you might think that weren't that great in college and had some tendencies to hold on to the ball a little bit, you know what I mean?
Right.
Guys that look like studs and You just don't know, man. It's the NFL. Look at Tua. And I feel bad for Tua, too. He's just in a bad franchise.
I mean, Tua and his injuries, too. I mean, he's so injury-prone.
But I feel like, look at Ryan Tannehill. He was a stud.
Well, I can tell you exactly what happened with Ryan Tannehill, because if you look at Carolina right now, you can exactly tell what happened with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And that's old Adam Gase, who looks like I'm not going to say.
Well, Ryan Tannehill, though, the thing about Ryan Tannehill is they never got him anything. They got him a wide receiver one time. And then they got Jay Ajayi, who had probably one of his, best seasons for the Dolphins. But if you go look at Ryan Tannehill, he had nobody. He tore his ACL just like Joe Burrow did because his offensive line was terrible, and he was doing everything that he could to keep a play alive. It's just so bad. And as historic as a team as the Dolphins are, it's funny how a lot of these historic teams, like especially the Cowboys, all of a sudden they're good again. Mm-hmm. How a lot of these historical franchises just stink. The Steelers. Look at the Steelers. The Raiders.
Oh my God.
The Raiders are so bad.
Well, the Raiders are actually pretty solid
this
year.
This year, yes. And they got shown out by the Chargers, who I don't even think are the best team in the West. I think they're one of the.
Oh, the Chargers have been, I'm very impressed with some of these rookies that came in last year. I mean, you had Herbert. Herbert is probably one of the best rookies that are going, not rookies, but rookies from last year's class that is just rocking and rolling this year. And we got Jason on the line right now. Jason, welcome in. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm a sad Falcons fan.
I'm a sad Falcons fan.
Miserable Falcons fan.
I'm used to heartbreak.
Yeah. What college quarterbacks are coming out this year? Are they any good ones coming out?
Oh, are you trying to look for that Matt Ryan replacement?
Yeah. Here's what I'll do right now. I'll trade Matt Ryan to the Houston Texans, because they need a quarterback, and they're not going to win many games.
Yeah.
So we can move up the draft and get a good quarterback next year.
Yeah.
And also bring in a defensive back and then draft all defense.
Yeah, here's my question to you. If Cam Newton was there, would you rather have Cam Newton out there than Matt Ryan?
No.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't either. But the thing is if you kind of look at the guys that I want this year, maybe Desmond Ridder. I don't want Rattler, but maybe Desmond Ridder. But I still think look at Atlanta in the future. Draft defense and offensive line next year, right? And then the following year, who comes out? Oh, young Bryce Young. How about Bryce Young in Atlanta throwing it to Kyle Pitts?
And we got Evan Neal coming out of Alabama.
You could get Evan Neal next year at tackle and move Jake Matthews over. Hey, we're thinking we got to talk to the Falcons right now because they're making the worst decisions over there, and they need to hear their fans, man. It's ridiculous. Thank you, Jason.
Jason, appreciate the phone call. Guys, appreciate y'all.
Have a good one.
You too, sir. All right, tomorrow, Friday Trifecta, big one. $100 worth of Champy's Chicken. Get prepared to put your picks in so you can win yourself some chicken. This has been the Thom Abraham Show right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive.